Good morning. Today we'll discuss socket programming. Today we'll see some more demo on network programming here. So we'll look into the socket programming in details and see that with the help of socket programming, how can you access the transport layer, the protocol stack, and you can run our own application on top of the network protocol here stack to transfer some data or from a computer. So to start with, as we have seen earlier, we have also discussed earlier that this entire network protocol stack is implemented inside the kernel layer of the operating system. So in general, we have 5 layers in TCP IP protocol stack that we have talked about, and in that 5 layers of TCP protocol stack, this physical layer and the part of data link layer are stored inside the hardware here, whereas upper part of the data link layer, mainly part of MAC and logical link, control the network layer and transport layer implemented in the kernel space of the operating system. And then from the user space, you can write multiple applications to access this protocol stack. So the application have to interact with the transport layer to send and receive the data. And as we learned already that in that transport layer, we have 2 different protocols, the transmission control protocol or TCP and the user datagram protocol, or you can also call it as a UDP here. So today we look into the entire kernel space which is there inside, that we are having these different layers of protocol stack, the transport layer, the network layer, and part of the data link layer which is already implemented inside the operating system here, kernel. And we will see that how you can make a interaction between this user space and protocol stack which is implemented inside the kernel space here with the help of socket programming. Now we'll see that whenever you will write an application, a network application at the user interface, you have to transfer or you have to use certain kind of functionalities at the user space here. You have to transfer or you have to use certain kind of functionalities which are available at the kernel. So we require a interfacing between the user space as well as the kernel space here. And remember that we are talking about Unix based operating system, and in Unix based operating system, from user space to kernel space, the interaction will be done with a set of APIs which we call as a system call. So the system call transfers some user requirement to the kernel, corresponding kernel operations, and performed operations at the Linux or Unix kernel here. So this entire protocol stack that is implemented inside the kernel will make as an interaction with the network protocol stack with the help of operating system calls. So just a pointer for you to explore further, you can look into this entire protocol stack implemented inside the Unix kernel here. If you download Unix kernel source inside the Unix kernel source, you can check net model under user source Linux net, and you can see this entire implementation of kernel protocol stack there. So these things are you already learned about that this TCP protocol stack a transport layer. So these things you have already learned about the TCP protocol stack, a transport layer. It does application layer multiplexing here. You can run multiple applications in different devices. I can run browsing by using HTTP, file transfer by using FTP protocol, voice over IP by using the UDP protocol here. Now different application can run on different protocols. So if you are having browsing of HTTP application, they will run with the help of TCP. If you have file transfer or FTP kind of application, they may run with the help of TCP. If you have some application like voice over IP, that may use the UDP here. Now all these transport layer instances of protocol stack that interact with the IP layer here. Now whenever you are talking about among two devices, the IP layer gets changed, and whenever you are having multiple applications which are running on top of your IP layer of our network layer of a protocol stack, they are multiplexed with the help of different type of protocols here. So to differentiate between these two devices at IP layer, we use this IP address here. We use this IP address. So whenever we discuss about IP layer, we'll discuss about how you can configure these IP addresses. So for the time being, just understand that different devices, they are separated by IP addresses here. And then at application side, we have these port numbers that actually help you to do application layer multiplexing here. So that means whenever we talk about device A is communicating with device B, during that time it is actually, if you are doing some kind of browsing application, which is that time browsing application using HTTP protocol, during that time devices A, the application which is using the TCP protocol at port number 8081 with on machine with IP address 202.141.81.2, it is interacting with the device B at IP address of 203.12.23.43 over a port 8080, where your HTTP server is running. Similarly, for our other application that this application is running at device A and application running at device B can be segregated with the help of the port numbers here. And remember that whenever we talk about this kind of application Unix based system, we basically represent it in a form of a process. So there are multiple processes which are running in different machines here, and those processes want to communicate with each other, and during that time we ensure this process to process communication with the help of transport layer of protocol stack here. So this process to process communication is achieved with the help of these IP addresses here. Which is there at IP layer to uniquely identify a machine in a network, and then in a machine there are multiple processes running in, they can use different protocols. Some of the process may use the TCP protocol, some of the process may use the UDP protocol, so that they are segregated with the help of these port numbers here. Now let us see what is a socket. So socket is basically a logical connection from one process to the another process here. So here you can see that these two browsing applications at two devices, they are communicating with each other. So we have a socket, one socket. This is red, which is making a logical pipe between the application which is running at the port 8081 on the machine 202.141.81.2 to the machine where the corresponding end of that pipe is running at the port 8080, that machine with IP address 203.1.12.23.43. So that way we can have multiple such logical connections, logical pipes at transport layer, which we can call as a socket. So now sending the data over the internet means sending the data over these logical pipes here. So these logical pipes, which we call as a socket, they basically creates this, and so these logical pipes which we call as a socket, they basically creates this end-to-end connection in case of TCP, or end-to-end data transmission in case of UDP here. So to transfer data from one machine to another machine, or better to say one process at one machine to transfer data from one machine, or better to say one process at one machine. So here let us see that how we can implement such socket in a Unix based system here. So far that we are using the concept of socket programming, framework, we have to set system calls that we have to execute from the C program, and these system calls will help us to get the service from TCP/IP protocol stack, which is implemented inside net model of OS kernel. So let us see that how this entire thing works here. So at the transport layer, we are talking about the client server programming. So we have server where the idea is the server has opened a port, announced a port, that this particular port I am listening, and client need to make the connection. The client need to make the connection that particular port. Now in that case, how the server actually works. So in the server side, you have to first make a socket system call. So the socket system call, it will create a server side opening of a logical pipe, and it will bind the socket with your TCP/IP protocol stack here. So to bind the socket with the TCP/IP protocol stack, you have to call this bind function here. So this bind function, what will do that the port number that you are specifying, it will bind with that port number with the socket, so that the way it will create the logical end of connection at the server side here. So just think of the server in this way, that server is always running, and server actually need to announce that I am actually listening to this port, say port 8080 example. So if anyone wants to talk to me, you can send data to port 8080 here. So this announcement you have to done through a bind and listen system call that we have here. One is bind system call, one is the listen system call. So the bind system call actually bind the port with corresponding socket end, and the listen system call will help you just to make the server to go in the listening state. So the server is now say bind that port 8080, and it is listening for incoming connection here. Now let us move at the client side. At client side, we have a socket system call first. So this socket system call again creates a client side end of the logical pipe, and after that a client side you do not require this bind or listen, because just understand the nature of communication between the server and the client here. So server is actually announcing or making the announcement that I am listening at this port 8080. So anyone want to connect to me, you can directly connect to me at port 8080. That client do not need to know, because the client is actually initiating the connection to the server here. Because the client is listening the connection to the server, client do not need to make such kind of announcement here. So client can just initiate the connection to the port which is being announced by server, and that is why you do not require the bind and listen call at the client side here. So at server side you require the bind and listen system call, so that server can bind itself to the port, to fixed port, and can it announce the fixed port to the outside, that anyone can connect to the particular port by creating a socket here. Now after these things are done, after you have created the end of the socket at client side, from the client side you make this connect call to initiate a connection to the port number which is announced by the server. Now this is actually kind of well-known things, like say you know that if you are running a HTTP server, then you are either running a port 80 or you are running a port 8080 or some other ports which is being announced by the server here. So the client is already knows that what IP address we are where the server is running here, and what is the port number where the server is running. So the client initiates the connect call. There, and this connect makes a connection towards the server here. So once the server gets this connection, it makes an accept call. Now in the case of TCP kind of protocol, within the connect and accept, you can have the TCP three-way handshaking procedure that we have discussed. So the client initiates the connection by sending a synchronization packet. The server accepts the connection by returning the back acknowledgement, and also initiating the connection to the client side by sending the another synchronization packet. So we are having the synchronization plus acknowledgement from the server to the client, and then finally which happens whenever you are making this connect system call, the client side and accept call at the server side to make the connection in case of a TCP. Now once this connection is established, then you can make this send and receive call to send data and receive the data. So whenever you are making a send call, it is sending the data at the other end, and can receive the data by making the receive system call. You can make a send to me or from the server side to send some data from server to the client, and the client accept the data from the receive system call. So once the data communication is done, then you can make this close call finally. Close call to close the corresponding connection, so that the way this entire flow of socket programming will happen. Now let us look into the how you will actually write this system call in format of so we will start with different types of sockets as we discussed in long back, that is internet, in the next section. Thank you.